Georgia has a deadly secret hiding in plain sight. Beneath the beautiful scenery lurk venomous predators we willfully ignore just to feel safe at night. These are the 12 most dangerous animals hiding in Georgia that locals pretend don't exist. Number 12. The brown recluse. Spider. It doesn't hunt you, it hides from you. Small, brown, marked with a faint violin shape on its back, the brown recluse tucks itself into shoes, cardboard boxes, wood piles, and dark garage corners across Georgia. It wants nothing to do with you, but slide your foot into a shoe it has claimed, or reach blindly into a stored box, and it bites in pure self-defense. There's no anti-venom for this one, and the bite itself is often painless at first, which is exactly why people don't realize anything happened until hours later. Doctors treat the wound and wait. The venom is necrotic, and it doesn't just hurt, it kills the tissue around the bite, slowly, turning a pinprick into an open wound that can take months to close. Most victims never even see the spider. They wake up with a red mark, then a blister, then a wound that keeps spreading outward. This spider can survive months without food or water, which is exactly why, once one gets inside a house, it almost never leaves. Doctors across Georgia see cases like this every year, and more often than not, the patient never saw a spider at all. They just assumed it was an infection, and just as often, a real infection gets blamed on a spider that was never there. Pest control crews across the state report the exact same pattern every single summer. That's what makes this one so dangerous. It's already gone before you know it was ever there. Number 11. The black widow spider. Glossy black, marked with a blood-red hourglass. The black widow isn't hiding in some far-off forest. It's living in your woodpile, your mailbox, your porch furniture, your garden shed, anywhere dark, dry, and undisturbed. Every county in Georgia has them. Only the female bites. The male is smaller, harmless, and rarely even seen, sometimes not seen again at all once he's served his purpose, which is exactly where the name comes from. A single egg sac can hold hundreds of spiderlings, so finding one web usually means more are close by. Her venom is far more potent than a rattlesnake's, drop for drop, a neurotoxin that locks up muscles and sends the body into violent cramping. The amount injected in a single bite is small, but it's enough to put grown adults in the hospital, doubled over in pain that spreads from the bite site to the chest and abdomen within the hour, often mistaken at first for appendicitis. Bites cluster every summer, almost always the moment someone reaches into firewood or a storage box without checking first. Before anti-venom existed, bites like this killed people, especially children and the elderly. Today they rarely do, but that doesn't make the pain any less real. She rarely leaves her web but disturb it, and she won't hesitate to defend it. Number 10. The bobcat. Twice the size of a house cat, built with retractable claws and a bite strong enough to bring down a full-grown deer, the bobcat moves through Georgia's forests, swamps, and even the wooded edges of suburban neighborhoods without ever being seen. Thousands of them live across the state right now, patrolling territories that can stretch for several miles, depending on how much food is available. It hunts at dawn and dusk, silent, low to the ground, gone before you register movement, taking rabbits, rodents, wild turkey, and occasionally a fawn if the opportunity presents itself. Its scream in the middle of the night is often mistaken for a woman crying out, which is exactly why so many rural 911 calls turn out to be nothing more than a bobcat marking its territory. Healthy bobcats avoid humans, but a sick, cornered, or rabid one is a different animal entirely, fast, aggressive, and armed with claws that can shred skin in a single swipe. Pets are its usual target near neighborhoods, but wildlife officers across the state field aggressive encounter reports every single year. It has been living closer to you than you think, and you have probably never noticed, walking the same tree line you jog past every morning. Number 9. The coyote. 50 years ago, there were none in Georgia. Today, they're in every single county, including the middle of Atlanta. They moved in once wolves disappeared from the region, and nothing has slowed them down since. Not even the fact that Georgia allows them to be hunted essentially year-round with no closed season. Coyotes hunt in loose packs after dark, opportunistic and adaptable, eating anything from insects to garden vegetables to small pets, raiding trash, and slipping through neighborhoods while everyone sleeps. Direct attacks on people are rare, but they're climbing as coyotes lose their natural fear of humans in urban and suburban areas, and encounters spike sharply every spring when pups arrive and parents turn defensive of the den. They carry rabies. They're bold enough to approach homes at night, and wildlife officials have had to remove increasingly aggressive individuals from residential areas and even public parks and greenways. They den close to walking trails, school grounds, and quiet backyards without anyone realizing it. Trail cameras meant to catch deer catch coyotes almost every single night. The howling you hear at 2 a.m. is closer than it sounds. Number 8. The feral hog. Georgia is home to well over 1 million feral hogs, and that number keeps climbing every year, despite year-round hunting seasons meant to control them. These aren't the gentle pigs of a farm. They're descendants of escaped livestock and Eurasian boar released decades ago for sport hunting, and the two have interbred into something faster, meaner, and harder to kill. A single sow can produce 2 litters a year, and the survivors learn fast. Hogs that have been hunted or trapped once become far warier and harder to catch a second time. Wild boars in this state can weigh up to 400 pounds, armed with tusks capable of goring flesh to the bone. They're fast despite their size, aggressive when cornered, and especially dangerous when a sow is protecting her piglets. Hunters and hikers have been gored in the backcountry, sometimes with severe life-threatening results. They travel in destructive herds called sounders, moving mostly at night, tearing up farmland and forest alike, and carrying diseases that can spread to livestock and people. Farmers across the state describe waking up to fields that look like they were plowed overnight. Corner one by accident, and you won't have time to reconsider. Number 7. The black bear. North Georgia's mountains, central Georgia, and the Ocefenokee Swamp in the south all hold stable, growing black bear populations, several thousand animals in total, and encounters are rising every year as bears expand into territory they hadn't occupied in generations. This is the largest land predator in the state, males pushing past 500 pounds, capable of running 35 miles an hour and overpowering nearly anything in its path. Every fall, bears enter a feeding phase where they can spend nearly 20 hours a day searching for food to fatten up for winter, and that single fact drives most of the state's bear complaints. A bear can smell food from over a mile away, which is why coolers and trash cans are rarely safe from a determined one, and why so many nuisance bear calls trace back to something as simple as an unlocked car with snacks inside. Most bears want nothing to do with people, but a bear that has learned to associate humans with food loses that fear fast, and a mother protecting cubs who stay by her side for up to a year and a half will not back down from a threat. And despite their size, a black bear can climb a tree faster than most people can run. Campers across North Georgia hear the same warning every season: secure your food, because the bear already knows exactly where it is. Number 6. The eastern copperhead. This is the snake responsible for more bites in Georgia than any other, and it's not because it's aggressive, it's because it's everywhere. Its copper and hourglass pattern disappears completely into dead leaves, mulch beds, and wood piles, which means most people who get bitten never saw it at all. They simply stepped too close while gardening, hiking, or reaching into a pile of yard debris. Unlike snakes that flee, the copperhead tends to freeze and trust its camouflage, which is exactly how so many bites happen entirely by accident. Not every bite injects venom, some are dry, but there's no way to tell in the moment, which is why every single bite needs a hospital visit regardless of how it looks. Backyards, garden beds, the edge of a porch. This snake doesn't need wilderness to survive. It thrives right beside human homes. The bite is rarely fatal, but it's excruciating, swelling the limb, destroying tissue around the wound, and putting victims in the emergency room within the hour. Even the juveniles are dangerous, using a bright yellow tail tip to lure in prey before anyone notices they've hatched. Poison control centers across Georgia field calls about this exact snake more than any other, every warm month of the year. It's the snake locals insist they'd never encounter, right up until they do. Number 5. The eastern coral snake small, strikingly banded in red, yellow, and black. The coral snake carries one of the most potent neurotoxic venoms of any snake in North America, and it's the only member of the cobra family native to the eastern United States. In Georgia, it keeps mostly to the sandy soil of the far southern counties, often underground or beneath leaf litter, out of sight for most of its life. It's shy by nature and rarely bites. Its fangs are short, and it has to hold on and chew to deliver a full dose, which is the only reason bites stay rare. It's also regularly confused with the completely harmless scarlet kingsnake, a mimic that wears nearly the same colors in a different order. But when the coral snake does bite, the danger isn't what happens immediately, it's what happens hours later. Symptoms can be delayed long enough that victims believe they're fine, only to develop slurred speech, drooping eyelids, and difficulty breathing well after the fact. Antivenom for this snake has been in short supply for years, which makes every bite a race against time. Locals rely on a rhyme to avoid its lookalikes. Red touching yellow, kill a fellow because getting it wrong here isn't a small mistake. Confirmed bites in Georgia are counted in the single digits most years, and that rarity is exactly why so few people, even in emergency rooms, know how to react fast enough when one happens. Number 4. The timber rattlesnake. Thick-bodied and built for power, the timber rattlesnake can grow past 5 feet, live for 2 decades or more in the wild, and deliver a rattling warning loud enough to stop you in your tracks, if it even chooses to warn you at all. Found in Georgia's mountain forests and remote wooded stretches of the coastal plain, this snake has enormous fangs and a venom yield to match, hemotoxic venom that destroys blood cells and tissue around the bite site, and heat-sensing pits that let it track warm-blooded prey in total darkness. It favors fallen logs, rock ledges, and sunny clearings as ambush points, and it's patient and generally calm unless provoked, relying on near-perfect camouflage among leaves and rock to stay unnoticed. Decades of organized hunting and habitat loss pushed it out of much of its old range, and today it's considered rare and sensitive enough in Georgia that a sighting barely gets reported, let alone acted on. Hikers on remote trails encounter it more often than official numbers suggest, because most close calls are never reported, just quietly survived, one heartbeat away from a very different outcome. Number 3. The Cottonmouth. Also known as the water moccasin, this snake owns Georgia's swamps, rivers, and lake edges, and unlike most snakes, it doesn't always retreat. Thick-bodied with a blocky, angular head, cornered, it opens its mouth wide to reveal a startling white interior, a final warning before it strikes. It's frequently mistaken for harmless water snakes, and that single mistake accounts for a large share of its bites every year. It's one of the only vipers on Earth built to hunt in water, able to strike on land, in water, and even while partially submerged, holding on and injecting rather than striking and releasing the way many dry land snakes do. Its hemotoxic venom breaks down tissue around the bite fast, and it isn't picky. Fish, frogs, birds, even other snakes are all fair game. The old stories about it chasing swimmers across a lake are mostly myth, but the danger when you corner one in shallow water at the edge of a dock is very real. Adults commonly reach 3 to 4 feet, thick as a grown man's wrist, and are strong swimmers despite their bulk. Anyone who has swum, fished, or waded through Georgia's wetlands has almost certainly shared the water with one without ever knowing it. Number 2. The American alligator. In the Okefenokee Swamp, the coastal marshes, and increasingly the retention ponds of Georgia subdivisions, alligators over 13 feet long lie completely still, submerged except for 2 eyes and a set of nostrils. Georgia is home to an estimated 200,000 of them. Their bite force is among the strongest ever measured in a living animal, powerful enough to crush bone instantly, and their signature death roll can disorient and drown prey many times their size. They're patient beyond anything most predators can manage, capable of waiting motionless for hours for something to wander too close to the water's edge, most active right at dusk and after dark when they hunt, and capable of short, explosive bursts on land that can outrun a running adult over a few yards. Females guard their nest mounds with real ferocity, and wandering near one in nesting season is its own separate danger. A hatchling barely bigger than a pencil can grow into a 13-foot animal in little more than a decade. Hunted to near extinction before legal protection in the 1970s, they've since rebounded so completely that they're now turning up in places nobody expects: golf courses, backyard ponds, drainage ditches behind schools. Attacks on people remain rare, but when an alligator has been illegally fed and has lost its fear of humans, rare becomes a risk nobody should take. Number 1. The Eastern Diamondback Rattlesnake. The largest venomous snake in North America calls Georgia's coastal plain home, and it has no rival for the title of most dangerous animal hiding in this state. It can stretch past 6 feet with confirmed specimens topping 7, weigh more than 10 pounds, and deliver one of the largest venom doses of any snake on the planet. A single bite carries enough hemotoxic venom to destroy blood cells, tissue, and organ function if it goes untreated. It can strike at roughly 2/3 of its body length in a fraction of a second, faster than the human eye can track. Its diamond pattern vanishes into pine straw and palmetto scrub so completely that even experienced outdoorsmen have stepped within inches without noticing. It often shelters in the abandoned burrows of gopher tortoises, waiting motionless for hours at a time before ambushing whatever wanders past. And despite its name, it doesn't always rattle a warning before it strikes. Generations of organized rattlesnake roundups and vanishing habitat have driven populations down so severely that conservationists have pushed for federal protection. But where they remain exactly what they've always been: an ambush predator capable of killing a grown adult with a single bite. This is the danger locals don't talk about, the one hiding in the tall grass at the edge of every beautiful Georgia trail. 12 animals, one state, all of them closer than you think. Next time you walk through Georgia's woods, its wetlands, or even your own backyard, remember this: the danger was never hiding. You just weren't looking, and now you can't stop.